everybody, to another episode of Footy with Chudy. I'm your host, Chudy. Happy birthday to the Premier League. 30 years of riding this emotional roller coaster, joy, sadness, quality, and sometimes lack thereof. We've witnessed the birth of legends, the reign of legends, and the fall of legends, Cristiano Ronaldo. Over the years, the EPL has given us many great ballers. many great ballers. And we're all here to tell you our picks for our personal picks for the best 11 of all time. We're going to start with age before beauty here. We're going to start with Aminu. So Aminu, you can start with your your best your best your best 11. We're here with Aminu. So tell us your best 11, and at the end of that, tell us your favorite moments in Premier League history and why that is. So you can go ahead and start.
All right, so I chose a 4-3-3 formation. So my forwards, I'll start with Thierry Henry, one of the most skillful forwards the game has ever seen. I personally think he's probably the most skillful forward in the Premier League history. 2 titles, 4 golden boots, and player of the season, and most assists in a single season. So he had a very well-rounded attacking game for sure. Next on the list is Alan Shearer, like most goals in the Premier League. Like it's impossible to leave him out. And last but not least, I went with the great Wayne Rooney, who I won't say is underrated, but he certainly is underappreciated. And haters are making faces right now, but
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm laughing.
when you look at what Wayne Rooney has done in the game, like he's second all time in goals, he's third all time in assists, 5 titles. He has, a player of the season, and he's actually the most versatile forward of the bunch. Like he's the only one that you can play almost anywhere in the field except defense, obviously. But he also had a tackle in him as well, so you could even play him as a DM, although that would be rather extreme. So that rounds up my forwards. And then moving into midfield. So this one will be a little controversial because this guy played most of his career. Like his best performances came off the left wing, but towards the end of his career, he did move a little deeper into midfield. So I'm putting Ryan Giggs in there, and I honestly think Ryan Giggs is the greatest Premier League player of all time. And I know that's a controversial take, but hear me out. The man has
some stuff down.
The man has the second most appearances in the Premier League. He is the most winningest player in the Premier League with 13 titles. He is number 1 in assists. Like, I can't think of anybody else that has that sort of career behind them concerning the Premier League. Never got sent off. So I think even though it's slightly controversial, I just couldn't keep him out of my list. And I do think he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Premier League player of all time. Next in midfield, I have Frank Lampard. So Frank Lampard, again, another player that had a lot of longevity in the game, third most appearances. He was a great assist man. He was also a great goal scorer from midfield as well. He also had a good run at the Ballon d'Or, even though he didn't win it. So definitely, I thought it's hard for me to leave a guy out with those many accomplishments as well. And last but not least is the only current player that is still in the league, and that is Kevin De Bruyne, man. Like, I thought hard about this, man. I was like, man, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira. Like, there's so many greats. Like, the midfield was the hardest one to pick. But I was like, if De Bruyne retired today, he would still have one of the greatest, Premier League careers out there. 4 titles, two players of the season awards. Most assists in a single season. Like in terms of his passing game, I honestly don't know if there's another player in the world that I think is a better passer of the ball than than Kevin De Bruyne. I'm talking, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, like those are the bar when it comes to passing. And I think KDB is up there with those guys. Like some of those guys played a little deeper, a little more forward, but KDB to me, he's just an amazing player, and it's sad that he plays for City, but that's my last pick in midfield, and then moving into defense, I got the great Gary Neville for the right
Right back.
wing, 8 titles, a, a great servant for one of the greatest clubs, if not the greatest club in the world, Manchester United. Moving into center back partnership, I got
Rio
Rio Ferdinand as well, a player that's a great ball playing center back, and also one that had a lot of speed and agility for that position. So definitely he was a good partner to the next guy on my list, which is Vidic.
Vidic.
Another hot take, I know, um,
No,
but
not at all.
Vidic is the only defender to win Player of the Season twice, and I don't know why he is so underrated. And again, we can talk about other defenders like Company and the Chelsea
Nobody else, man.
captain,
Who?
what's his name?
John Terry.
John Terry. Yeah, yeah, we can talk about those guys for sure. This for sure, but he's the only defender that won Player of the Season twice, and his number of titles speak for himself. And when I think about Vidic, the word that comes to mind is warrior. Like
Mm,
he is just one of those players
mm.
that was a
Oh,
warrior on
oh,
the pitch, and
oh.
he was so aggressive, but at the same time not a red card risk. Even though he picked up, his fair share of cards in his season, but that's okay for a center back. But he was a warrior, and that's
Guys
what I
out here
loved so much about him.
losing teeth in the
Yeah, and
game,
then
not getting subbed off. No, let's go on. Let's go on. No.
right. So
Vidic.
finally in defense, I got Ashley
Ashley
Cole
Cole.
for left
Mm-hmm.
back. Yeah, I thought about putting Patrice Evra in there, but I didn't want to have too much of a Manu tilt to it. And then in goal, I put Peter Peter
That's so sweet. Yeah.
Schmeichel, and I
Mm-hmm.
almost went for Petr Cech because he has the most clean sheets in
Mm-hmm.
Premier League history. However, once again, Schmeichel won Player of the Season in goal, one more title than Petr Cech, and I almost look at clean sheets as a team function, almost like possession. That's why I went for Schmeichel in there. So obviously some hot takes in there, but I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think that this was the best team that I could come up with for the Premier League era.
Okay. Before we stab at you, give us your most memorable moment.
Man, this is sad though. This is sad. Like I
Just say
thought
it.
hard
Just say it.
about
Rip
this,
out the band-aid. Rip it out. Rip it out.
but I have to say it was Aguero's winning goal against QPR
Kakashi.
for the title. Yeah, I mean, there were other moments that I thought about Rooney's overhead kick against City, or Van Persie's volley, or the most iconic goal celebration, Adebayo against his former team Arsenal. But
He's running.
Adebayo, the significance of that goal, I think that's what really started the City era of
Mm-hmm.
dominance. And it's one of those situations where I remember where I was, what I was doing. I was in the hotel.
Oh.
Manu was just about to win the league. They had
No,
just
we
won the
weren't about
game,
to
and
win it. We'd won it.
they
We
had
won
won.
it.
Sorry, they
Our
they
game
were
was
winning
over.
it.
We had won the
Yeah,
league.
they were celebrating it, and then all of a sudden they get word that City
Mm-hmm.
pulled it off. So sadly, I have to go with the Aguero goal. And honorable mention to Leicester winning the title as well. That was
Okay.
an amazing feat for a mid-table team. But yeah, Aguero that's the moment I have to
These
go
guys
with.
were relegation candidates, man. They weren't even a mid-table team. Okay, time to stab at it. Does anybody have any problem with his picks? Skip.
Absolutely not. It's just flawless, obviously.
When it comes to these starting 11s, they are always going to be close call. Where you're like, just roll dice and all that. I have no
qualms
about it. It's just yeah.
Don't pick it yourself.
No, you're good. You're good with it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Edosa, what's your qualms with this?
What is that midfield? Like, how does that midfield win?
Okay.
Sorry,
So I understand that. Yeah. So one thing I understand is I actually was tempted to put in like a Gerrard in there or a Vieira or a Keane just for that steal, right? In midfield, but I just couldn't remove any of those guys. This team isn't necessarily about
a functional one.
It's not necessarily a functional team. It's more about an achievement team and like the best in the business.
Okay.
Kachi.
Haters will hate though.
For me, I definitely have a problem. Like, for me, there's no way Kevin De Bruyne gets into my all-time Premier League 11 team.
Hey,
man, we've had some giants in the Premier League. De Bruyne is not there yet. He's on his way. I say if he continues as he is 2 more seasons, I can put him, but I'm sorry, I can't put him ahead of. I can't put him ahead of some giants we've had.
In the risk of running time over here, realistically, when you think about it, if you remove the nostalgia glasses for a second, who are you putting above Kevin De Bruyne in that CAM attacking position? In terms of his passing ability, 2-footed finishing from outside the box, all that. Who are you putting above
position? It's just the eye test. The eye test. It is about functionality.
Yeah.
No, but I did say KDB was going to be is just as controversial as Ryan Giggs in midfield. But I thought about it. I was like, if he retires today, 2 times player of the season, and most assists in a single season, the guy's range of passing is just out of this world.
It's out of this world. 2-footed passing, 2-footed shooting. Who are you putting above him?
Like he's just a great attacking player. But I'll let these guys,
You're muted.
tell us about their
if you
own
wanted to say
teams,
something.
and we'll know that their own teams they don't stack up to mine in any way.
All right. Thank you so much, Aminu. Thank you for your take on this. I can't say I disagree with a lot on your team. My team,
coach, obviously, Fergie.
Sorry, I didn't ask us to put coaches because I thought
okay.
anybody
I added.
That's what I'm gonna say. I thought anybody who didn't put Sir Ferguson as their coach is just reaching at the point. I wanted to be controversial and make Mourinho my coach, but I like that realistically. We'll see how it goes. Aminu, thank you. I don't see too much problems with your team. Rooney didn't make it into mine, but we'll see mine in the future video. All right. Happy birthday again to the Premier League, 30 years strong, and it will keep on going. Best league in the world, most entertaining league. And we'll see whether any of these young talents will make this list in the future. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you guys for being here. Remember to like, subscribe, follow Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. Thank you so much. You have a lovely rest of your day. And remember to keep loving football.